It's time for Off the Air Live. And here's your host, Cody O'Connor.
Hey, what do you know? I'm back. This is Off the Air Live. It is the Saturday edition. And I am actually in studio tonight, so that means you can call in at 774-314-7067, or you can Skype in on Off the Air Live. You're hearing us on LRN.FM Live. You're hearing us on Talk Superstation Live. You're hearing us on WBob Live and some other station. I think it's KTFL or something like that. Yeah, it's crazy. I keep getting added on all of these stations being broadcast live for literally zero work. Isn't that the nicest thing? I don't have a dude calling up internet radio stations saying, "Oh, we've got this new youthful sensation that we'd like to send you a demo and get them on the air. We'd like to, we just want to see what you think. Try them out for a few weeks, and then we'll see how your clientele responds by having him on your network." No, none of that stuff. Literally me sitting here saying, "Oh, I wonder what's on Facebook today." Nothing? Okay, I'm going to go back to bed. And then I wake up the next day, and then my show is added on more stations. So that's really cool. Apologies for not being here Thursday, by the way. I have this thing that's been a constant problem of me being awake against my will, by the way, for like up to 5 days at a time. Sometimes I'll go through a week and I'll sleep 2 days out of all the days. So sometimes I'll wake up immediately angry. Like, you know how you get when you're having a fight with a loved one, someone you feel really passionately about, right? And they pissed you off, they broke your heart, and you have that feeling like you want to just take something really expensive and beautiful and passed down from your ancestors and then throw it to the ground and watch it shatter. Some kind of old picture that's been framed up. It's gold and it's expensive, and you just want to destroy it to somehow give yourself some kind of respite. That level of anger is sometimes what I feel when I've been tossing and turning the entire night and it becomes noontime and I give up and I snap and I go, fuck it, the day's starting. So I don't start the day like, easy, like Sunday morning, let's go make some flapjacks and have a nice little thing here. No, I'm destructive as possible. I'm throwing sheets as hard as you can throw a sheet. I know, it's hard to really do damage with a sheet. You could suffocate a guy with a sheet, but as far as angrily getting out of bed, it's really hard to do that. But I found a way where it's like, I'm just throwing it out of my vicinity, and then I'm just like, I have to stop, because you have to have the most destructive walk possible on your way to the shower. So that's where I'm angrily grabbing towels and washcloths. And then I realize how ridiculous I am, because none of the stuff that I'm doing is anything but ridiculous and mundane. And I'm trying to find a way to angrily do things that are mundane. How can I angrily grab a towel? I'll fucking find a way, because fuck the universe, man. I don't want to be here. I didn't ask to be born. And I don't think I did either, because I'm one of the few, when I was a baby, I was one of the few people that decided that I wanted to come out feet first. And the big threat of coming out feet first is that there's the possibility that you can hang yourself from your own umbilical cord. And that's something that I decided as a baby was a good idea. Now, I don't know what I was thinking back then, because I wasn't making memories, but maybe I was like, oh shit, I don't want to live here. Are you kidding me? Maybe somebody sent me a mixtape while I was, growing inside my mom's belly, giving me all the updates on the world affairs and the crises and the hunger and the one percenters and all of the terrible things in the world and the police brutality and all of it. And I go, I'm gonna figure out a way to hang myself on the way into this thing. Oh, I can strangle myself with the thing that tethers me to my mom. Great, I'm gonna try that. Plan fucking failed. I ended up being C-sectioned, you know? Oh, no, fuck it. He's not coming out that way. You're going out the other way. You're going out through the stomach. And as punishment, the next thing we're going to do is hold you down and cut off a part of your dick. And now that's a part of your penis that you don't have ever again now. It doesn't grow back. You're not a reptile. Sorry, you're not part of the shape-shifting Anunnaki. You can't morph a new arm. Nope, and you certainly can't grow back another foreskin. So that's something that I've had to deal with. My point of this, I can't remember. Although I do think, the other thing, there's two possibilities because I was thinking about this. Like, why was I born that way? Either I wanted to die all the way back then, or secondly, I was just being a contrarian, which is what a lot of people will tell you when you start talking about, well, I'm an anarchist. I believe in a lot of these conspiracies. I believe there's powerful elites who want to control you. And I sort of believe that they're controlled by an alien race that harvested our energy during the ancient times. So that's all going on in my head. And a lot of people will just say, oh, you're being a contrarian. Well, maybe I am a little bit. I mean, that's where I started out. I started out going, fuck gumming out head first. No, not for me. That's what everybody else does. I don't want to fit in. That's only going to be cool for a while, man. You wait till that phase is lame. Everybody's going to come out shoulder first pretty soon once that picks up. And then once that's trendy, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be a hipster about it. And I'm going to try and come out feet first. I was a contrarian all through like kindergarten and stuff. I remember a lot of times they would ask questions about really dumb things that, looking back, I don't know how this added to my education. There were questions like, oh, what is your favorite type of apple? Is it Red Delicious, Granny Smith, or is it Yellow Delight? And what would happen is that almost everybody would go with Red Delight or Granny Smith. Those are your go-to apples. And maybe me and one other guy was like, well, fuck you guys. My favorite apple is Golden Delight. I don't even know if it was my favorite apple. You know what I mean? Like, I just wanted to pick the one that nobody else was choosing. A lot of people have this built-in psychological thing going on in their head where they look at what everybody else is into and what is trendy, and they go, oh, I'll jump on that bandwagon. But isn't that kind of a mentality on a more grander scale that perpetuates things going on just because they're popular and not because they're good? I.e. the idea of government in general, And it's like every time we get a little bit closer towards, a more progressive idea on how to do a society like this, a more humanitarian way to do society, what happens? Oh, there's a revolution, Oh, we're going to change all this stuff. Then maybe a guy will step down. And what's the next thing that happens? Oh, we got to have a vote. Oh, so you mean a new government? It was really interesting. So I watched this documentary today. If you have Netflix, I recommend you watch it. It's called The Square, and it's about these Egyptian revolutions. Trust me, I do mean it as a plural thing, an ongoing thing too. It's crazy. Either I didn't pay attention to any of this shit, or the American media did a piss poor job of covering the Arab Spring and everything that went on in Egypt from 2011 and onward. This is stuff that I didn't know until today. And I want to really get in depth into some of this stuff and the perspective that it gave me on their lives versus my shitty and mundane life, And we'll get into this a little bit more. It is the Saturday edition of Off the Air Live. More coming up, and the lines are open, by the way. Alrighty, welcome back. It is Off the Air Live, and it is the Saturday edition of the show. My name is Cody O'Connor, and this is a libertarian thing. It's a comedy thing, and you can hear all the archives of this thing at offtheairlive.com. We got Nate from Legacy Radio on the line right now. What's up, man?
Not much, man. Just heard you talking about apples, and I thought I could add some input to it.
Oh, so we have an Apple expert on the line. Is that what you mean to tell me?
Oh, yeah. I'm into all kinds of apples. We have
Do you have a favorite?
the Arcane apple.
The Arcane apple.
Arcane. It gives you 10 plus to mana points when you eat it.
Oh, my God. I didn't know they made them magical.
Yeah,
Wow.
They're actually all made of magic. I mean,
They're made of mana. Sorry, excuse me.
yes, mana potions. Because that's why the FDA approves it now, because they just inject them with potions.
Do witches when witches are brewing stuff in cauldrons, do they put in entire apples?
I think they just use the core.
Or is that just something I'm thinking about from like a Disney movie?
No, they just use the core of that.
Just the cores?
Do
Do you think that's like a metaphor for how evil they are because they're evil to the core?
Exactly? I think so.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so okay. I teased when we were going into break. Okay, so I watched this movie, Nate, and it was pretty serious, but I do want to tell you about it.
All right.
It was called The Square, and it was about this Egyptian revolution that was going on like from 2011, and it's like kind of going on still. And
Yeah.
I don't know. It was kind of like a reality check, because you know how you just like live through your day-to-day life, and you have like worries and concerns and anxieties about shit, but it's like compared to, you know, third world problems, second world problems, it's nothing. You know,
Yeah.
I sit here and I go, oh, I'm kind of worried I'm going to get pulled over because I haven't done my car registration. You know, that's overdue. Yikes. Might get a ticket. You know, that's the end of my world right there. Over in Egypt, they spent 30 years under the rule of this guy Mubarak, right? And what he did is he suspended free speech. Not only that, you couldn't go out and you couldn't protest, you couldn't do any street performances. It was a really brutal dictatorship. Like you forget that shit like that exists. You know, I feel like the narrative is to most people is, oh, well, we beat Hitler and now everything's good for forever in America. But no, like there's really bad stuff going on. And after 30 years, you know, alongside the help of people getting together on the internet, they came together and they actually brought this guy down by, you know, they all got together in this square and eventually he stepped down. Now, the thing that was shitty that happened is that they got coerced a little bit into having these elections sooner than they wanted to. And this guy Morsi got elected, right? And what does he do but the same shit? The first thing he does when he gets in office is he gives himself unlimited powers. And get this blew my mind. The next thing he did was consider himself Egypt's new pharaoh. I'm not even making that up. Did you know that?
Yeah, I heard I was actually, I remember when all this was going on, and there was a lot of crazy shit going on around there. I remember when I think it was him who blocked the internet, so people couldn't use Twitter and stuff like that to rally together, to talk to each other. So he was actually blocking the internet.
Isn't it funny how Twitter can be used to bring down oppressive regimes, and it can also be used to have, you know, Ellen DeGeneres tweet something from the fucking Oscars and everybody gets a fucking hard on. Like the same tool used for bullshit and also political upheaval.
Isn't it just crazy how it just reaches everywhere though? I was thinking about that. It's like we are in our own little worlds too. So
It is a crazy good software, and I made the decision the other day. I'm going to start using Twitter more because Facebook more and more is becoming a shill to the advertisers, and they keep fucking pages. And this is something that you and me should be concerned about because we have a lot invested in our pages, you know? When we want to spread our message about our shows, we want it to actually reach people without having to spend money.
yeah.
And they're going to take organic reach down to essentially zero pretty soon.
They already did. They already did. I mean, I actually realized this a few weeks ago. I think I was telling you this. I whenever I used to post something about the show, I would get like 200 hits maybe off the post, 200 hits or more, sometimes even more than that. And now I notice this is whenever I post now, maybe I'll get 2 or 3 hits.
Oh yeah, I've had instances where I'll post something on my show page and I won't even see it show up on my personal profile.
Yeah.
So it's like, who am I talking to? Who am I talking to?
And then it says, well, if you reach 1,500 viewers, you got to pay us $20. And it's like, oh, you mean reach the people who are my friends already, and you don't want me to reach them right now unless you get money? I mean, that's ridiculous.
It's becoming a major scam, right? And it's going to hurt a lot of small businesses, people who a lot of quote unquote businesses like me and you who aren't even making money to begin with. We just want the exposure, the attention, and that's gone now. So I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to start integrating Twitter more with the show. I was thinking this the other day. One thing I've seen other shows do that would be kind of cool is have like a question, like a question of the night. Hey, what do you think about this? And then you tweet at Off the Air Live or, at legacyradio.net. There's a lot of shows that are doing that now, right?
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen people ask questions and stuff. I mean, Facebook was really good for me because I like the groups where you could do like almost like a forum. And you can interact with your fans and stuff in that forum. But I mean, I have a feeling it's going to go back to like using forums or using something like that, or even using Twitter as well. I mean, Twitter's really cool. The only thing I don't like about it is like if you have too many people you're following, you get too many tweets at once, especially if you're following other shows. Like,
I know, yeah. Because one thing that I did, it was kind of a little bit tricky, but what you can do is you follow a shitload of people that you don't know, and the courteous thing to do on Twitter is if somebody follows you, you'll follow them back. So I followed a bunch of people who were also following like Free Talk Live and other shows kind of affiliated with me, hoping that they would follow me back. Now, that has gotten me up to like, I think 500 followers maybe, but I'm following way more people than that. I'm following over 1,000 people. So, I see a lot of shit. My news feed is basically useless. That's the downfall of doing that.
Well, yeah, and so the only thing you can do is hope that people are interacting with you by looking at your notifications. Like with me, with you, yeah, you're following 1,200 people and you have 400 followers. That's not bad though. I mean, but it's really hard to see what people are doing. So if I wanted to see a post that you did, it's almost damn near impossible because there's so many.
Oh, it really is. That's why I think we should go back to web forums or something like that. We got to take a break. More coming up. I just want to wrap up my thoughts on watching The Square, this Netflix documentary, and then we'll move on to some other stuff with myself, Cody O'Connor, and Nate from Legacy Radio. Just want to wrap up my thoughts real quick because it was interesting how, they have this revolution, Mubarak steps down, they bring on Morsi, he does the same fucking shit, the protests start back up again, he steps down. And then there's, one more coup d'etat later. they've got a new government with a prime minister and everything's all better, and yet somehow the violence is continuing. And something that I want to mention, a point here is that really bums me out how, there's a lot of discontent and then also a lot of motivation to bring down these really bad governments and these really awful people. But, oh, Jesus Christ, I'm losing my mic.
You live there?
I thought that I was done with that happening when I bought a $60 fucking cable.
Well,
Yeah, I'm back.
I mean, the only thing is, and I don't mean to interrupt your thoughts right there, but one of the biggest thing is too is like their culture is completely different too. And one thing I have noticed about them, and actually I was reading about it too, they're this, aren't they very similar to like the Muslims, like where they like the way they treat women and stuff like that. They don't respect them at all. It's all about the man. The woman has to cover up and all that BS. And I do know that there was a report, like there was an American reporter, she got raped and like brutally raped in like by a big crowd of guys after there was like a riot. So I think it was like Susan. I don't remember. I want to say Susan Hogan, but I might be completely wrong.
Yep.
But I remember she got brutally raped, and the women of Egypt actually helped her get out of there. But like they're like crazy over there, and I feel like it's not about really not a lot. Some of it is about the government, yes, but then I feel like there's other people out there, the douchebags, who just want to go out there and just fucking act like animals.
Well, yeah, and that's why it's hard to tell. And then there's always going to be the people that ruin it for everybody, just like with Occupy Wall Street. There was people who had a lot of like legitimate messages, and then there was the other people who just wanted to smoke pot and bang on drums. And then the same thing here. It's like, yeah, we've got a ton of people who want to fight for freedom, and then we've got some backwards Islamists who have some weird ideas about stoning people for certain things that betray Allah. So it is really hard to tell, but what I can say is that, they should really stop with this insanity of, thinking, oh, well, once we get out the bad guy in this government, we'll be fine. Oh, no? Okay, once we get the bad guy out of that government, we'll be fine. Oh, no? Okay, we'll just replace this guy in government. Well, the one thing that keeps repeating is government. It seems to me like, oh, maybe that's the idea that they need to work past. Maybe if you're going to have a true revolution, you can't take down the system, hit the reset button, and then start up the new system filled with other people, corrupt people who are the same type of people. It reminds me of that Who line, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. If you want something new, you got to have a whole new fucking system. If you're going to hit the reset button and do society the same way, you're going to get the same results.
But I do think as people, though, we need laws, we need structure, and we need that structure. And I think part of that structure is having a government that's able to enforce that structure, enforce that law. I think as people, we want that. We need it. I really do. In some ways, I do think we need it. I'm not saying it has to be as crazy as it has been. I'm just saying we do need some type of structure.
That's one thing that we can go back and forth on all day. It just seems to me where it's like we think about ancient times when we're talking about pharaohs and monarchies, those two things. But it's like you got Morsi, who considers himself a pharaoh now, a couple of years ago. And secondly, you want to talk about monarchies? Let's look at the Bush crime family. We've got fucking Prescott Bush, who financed both sides of World War II. You've got Herbert Walker Bush, that piece of shit. Then you've got George W. Bush and all of his fun war on terror stuff. And now Jeb Bush is considering running in 2016. And it's like, you want to act like we're a democracy. We're no. It's the money party. It's not the Republicans and the Democrats. It's the money party. And the crazy thing that I don't know if this is proven, but if people have claimed that if you follow the Bush bloodline all the way back, you'll find that his distant relatives or their distant relatives were all dictators and rulers back in the ancient times. So it's like the same shit keeps on continuing. The only thing that we really do is call it something new. We have a bunch of symbols to cover up the fact that a lot of the same shit exists. You know, oh, America's a free country. Okay. And yet we've got a crime family basically in charge of it. You know, you look back at some of these elections, you got to wonder if they're rigged. Like Bush and Kerry both came up through Skull and Bones. You know, how much did they have in common? Were they running against each other, or were they running, or was it some kind of team? You can't know because that's the shit that they keep secret.
I also heard they have secret highways.
I heard under the Denver International Airport is where the globalist base is.
On the underground city?
Yeah, something like that. You hear that one?
Just in case the world catches fire, they can live under there.
Well, just in case might be more or less a planned accident.
I've watched Jesse Ventura's conspiracy theories. Come on, man.
He has a new show now, doesn't he?
Well, it's not new. He's been around, but Jesse...
It has been around. I haven't watched his show. I want to, though. I like that guy.
Honestly, it was quite interesting, the things that he was saying.
Isn't he like a really charismatic dude? Don't you get that from him?
Dude, he was in the WWE. I mean, come on.
Yeah, like he went from wrestling to politician to conspiracy theorist activist. Like,
and from wrestling to actor. He was in the movie Predator.
Oh, he was an actor too? You really do have to have a personality to go through all of those career paths. We're adding Nathan to the line. Good morning, Nathan.
Good afternoon.
Don't question. Just, what's up though?
You heard the COVID
show with Jesse Ventura?
Conspiracy theories with Jesse Ventura.
What kind of conspiracy theories?
He talks about all that shit that he was just talking about. How like there's an underground, like almost like a base / city underneath. I think it was the Denver airport. He also talks about he talks about a bunch of different things, like how there's murals on in that airport that show like, I don't know, it shows like death.
Yeah, there's like dudes wearing gas masks and all of this fire and chaos. Not something really nice to have in an airport, is it?
Yeah.
Doesn't really make me feel like, oh, I'll get on a plane and not think about death the whole time.
And the symbol of the Masons, the Freemasons.
Isn't the symbol of Raw on the dollar bill?
Yeah, it does freak me out. I don't want to believe the Freemason shit and the Illuminati, but isn't it a little bit creepy how often that stuff shows up?
It's interesting.
I mean, you look at a dollar bill and it's kind of just like a in your face, like, fuck you. This is the slave money that, we control you with, and we're putting it in your face.
Yeah, I feel like money's money. It's gonna be. It can come in some form or another. Didn't they used to?
Can we have a form of money that doesn't have a pyramid with an eye on it? Can we get to that level?
I think that's actually kind of a cool drawing.
It's cool, but it's a little bit weird. And also, apparently, I didn't even know this one, but apparently there's an owl on the back of the $1 bill too.
Is there?
And that's another, for whatever reason, that's another like a cult symbol. And there's this group that meets, it's called like Bohemian Grove or something, where and their symbol is this owl. And all of these rich people, they get together and they have these weird like satanic ceremonies and shit. And we got to take a break, but I really want to get into this stuff. It is Off the Air Live. So it's not so bad to get a little bit conspiracy theory-ish every once in a while on the show, right?
No,
it's okay. Because I got to tell both of you, I'm convinced that there is a UFO, an unidentified flying pain in my ass.
Here we go.
Up above my house as we speak. And I only just discovered it tonight. I went outside to get an oxygen break, right? Because I don't smoke cigarettes, but sometimes during the winter, you got the windows closed, the air gets stale. So you just want to go outside. And it is kind of nice, too, because, like, you don't fucking pay attention to the stars. But, you go outside and you look up and you're like, oh, shit, space. Oh, yeah, I'm insignificant. But then I was looking a little bit closer, and I was looking at one of the stars, and I saw it was moving, right? And then it stopped moving, and then it hovered, okay? And it was blinking a lot of different colors.
Like what kind of colors?
Red, blue, really quickly different colors, like red, blue, I'm literally the whole rainbow of colors. And because at first I thought it was a star. It looked like a star at first when it wasn't moving. Then it started moving. I thought, oh, then it must be a plane. But then, oh, a plane keeps on moving. A plane doesn't stop and then hover, right? I mean, that doesn't happen. I mean, to me, either it's a UFO or I'm hallucinating.
I'm gonna go with number 2.
And I've only smoked 2 bowls of the Mary Jane today. I don't think I'm hallucinating UFOs.
Well, a lot of hallucinations happen when waking up or going to sleep, and those are perfectly normal.
Yeah, and that didn't happen. So I don't know what the deal is. I guess what I think, this is my theory, is I've said too much on this program. Now I've talked with Nate about the Anunnaki, and there it is. You know, I'm releasing ancient secrets that they didn't want us to know about how they're harvesting our energy as we speak, and they're truly the ones in charge of us. And well, now that the cover's blown, I am under watch.
It's interesting that you bring up that because in schizophrenia, one of the symptoms can involve paranoia and delusions.
Do you think I have schizophrenia, Nathan?
No, but since you brought it up last week, that's what I prepared my show prep with, and I was going to go over like the 5 symptoms of it.
Yeah, well, we went last week. What did we go over? We went over borderline personality disorder or something, and I decided to check off a few of those boxes. But thinking back on it, I really think a lot of it, like my emotional unstableness, is coming from my insomnia. Because as much all the research that I've done is it kind of avalanches. Like every time that you don't get a good night's sleep, you're a little bit more depressed. You're a little bit more anxious, which makes it harder to sleep. You know, so then the next day happens and you didn't get much sleep, and it kind of builds off from the last day, and every day it gets a little bit worse. So that's where I think kind of the emotional stuff comes from. Delusions and then visions and seeing things and hearing voices, on the other hand, I think that comes from truly being crazy inherently.
Yeah, hearing voices is termed auditory hallucination, and it's one of the main symptoms of schizophrenia. But with conspiracy theorists, usually the accusation is that they have delusions, which is different, and that's another symptom of schizophrenia.
Do you think that's a cop-out, though? Just to say, oh, well, conspiracy theories, all the conspiracy theorists clearly have schizophrenia.
Well, the difficulty is that the definition of a delusion is a fixed belief that doesn't change in the light of conflicting evidence. So you could make the argument that conspiracy theorists could be delusional just by the definition.
But you could also make the argument that reality as we know it is completely false. There's people like David Icke who go to the point, I'm not saying I go to this point, that we live in a holographic universe being projected by these not benevolent aliens, right? And they've created this universe to enslave us, da-da-da-da-fucking-da. Not saying it's real, but if it is, and the people that believe it, they're going to look crazy because they're in the minority. However, the real if that's the case, the real delusional people will be the people who believe in the state, the people who believe in America, the people who believe in the status quo, the people who believe in watching ABC at night and catching up on Under the Dome and that being their life.
Wait a second.
Those are the delusional people that they're living in the fake world. If all this other stuff is real, I'm not saying it is, but who the fuck knows? I don't like people saying they know either way. That's how my belief is about religion, and that's exactly how my belief is on the nature of reality and conspiracies and spirituality and everything else. I think you should be open-minded to anything being true, and then trying to work your way through life and figuring out what's the bullshit and what isn't.
So you're saying we live in the Matrix?
There are people that argue that the Matrix holds a lot of truth, actually.
So where
Isn't that crazy, though? Who fucking knows? Who fucking knows? The crazy thing is that our eyes, what we see is only our brain's interpretation, right? And that's only about a sliver of a percentage of the entire electromagnetic spectrum. So what we're seeing in our reality, created by our human senses from the mind, is only a small sliver of everything in the universe. Other dimensions, other frequencies, energy, all these things that we don't have a sense to. It doesn't exist to us just because we can't see it. So there could be a lot of stuff going on, the supernatural stuff like ghosts. You do have to wonder if there's an explanation to all of this. And, it's seen as crazy just because we don't naturally sense these things with our own minds.
Well, I think you're exhibiting one of the other symptoms of schizophrenia, which is disorganized thinking. Clearly, you need to be institutionalized.
Have you ever seen a cat walk by twice? The same pattern.
Well, yeah, I would hope that the Matrix, this Matrix, is well coded enough that there isn't going to be any glitches in it.
I don't know. You're seeing UFOs, and I'm seeing ghosts. I'm talking to ghosts. So,
Are you legitimately talking to ghosts?
I did that whole Halloween show, man. You were scared out of your mind.
I'm too scared to touch that stuff, to be honest with you. I was scared of ghosts from a very early age. When friends of mine in middle school, they had this fucking story about Bloody Mary that they were always telling, where they're like, yeah, man, so what you do is you stand in the bathroom and you say her name 100 times. She shows up and kills you. I'm going to try that tonight. And I'm like, fuck, you want to die? No, fuck that. And for the entire rest of my life, I would go to bed and I would put like a towel over my mirrors because I was afraid fucking shit was going to come out and strangle me. Maybe that's part of why I don't sleep today. I don't know. I'm scared of that shit.
Do you know what I think is funny is you are completely terrified of ghosts in Bloody Mary. However, you're not terrified of aliens that are lizards that come down and, I don't know, control us. I don't get that.
I'm just as freaked out by this UFO that is above my house, if that's what it is. I mean, if that's legit, like literally, if that is a UFO, I don't want to sound like a nut and say that I'm for sure, like it definitely is. But if it is, wouldn't that blow your mind to the point where like your whole fucking reality is shattered? You don't know yourself anymore. You're like fucking everything you thought was true is crushed, and then you just want to hide in a hole and shiver. That's how I would want to that's how I would feel if tonight I get abducted and I'm like I realize, oh shit, they're real. I wouldn't want to do life anymore after that. I mean that crushes everything for me. And yet people are drinking beer and dancing at the clubs right now. Fuck society.
And I'm drinking beer while talking on a show.
Yeah, well, at least we're bringing up stuff that people aren't bringing up at the clubs.
The truth is
that broad's pretty fucking hot. All right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know.
A pair of tits isn't going to change the consciousness paradigm. That's all I'm saying. As much as I love tits, we got to grow up. We got to stop. We got to stop being motivated only by sexual desire and greed. We got to start being motivated by truth and other virtues such as that.
So,
which is why I should be the next pharaoh of Egypt.
I was just gonna say you can be the next Ra.
Yeah, I'm thinking about trying to get some part-time work in Sun God Incorporated.
Yeah, man.
I don't know. I'm working on my resume. It says 24 years as a piece of shit guy.
I just want you to spread a little sun on me. Yeah, Cody, spread a little sun on me.
All right, we got to wrap it up there. This has been the Off the Air Live Saturday edition. With myself, Cody O'Connor. We had Nate from Legacy Radio and Nathan from Texas on the line. You can check out the archives at offtheairlive.com, and we'll see you again Thursday night at 10 p.m. on LRN.FM.